Hi, everyone. So, welcome to the stream today, and welcome to our maiden session as we prepare for the November 2025 examination. This is going to be a live Q&A session. I'm going to be answering some few key questions, providing you with some key strategies on subject combination, how to study, how you must strategize yourself, the key areas of focus, and how you can position yourself in the next 12 weeks so that you can go into the November 2025 examination and, most importantly, pass the examination. And so, if you're on the live call or you're watching the playback, whatever it is, and there are any questions that you have, please put them in the comment section or the chat box for me. I'm going to be providing you with the answers that you need and all of the clarities that you want in order to really understand and know what exactly you need to know about. Also, remember that we are going to be starting our live lectures on Monday. That is going to be 11th. Tomorrow is going to be our orientation session where we're going to be spending some time to look at the way our program is going to be run and the various things that we have put in place to ensure that you go into the exam hall and pass the examination. And so, if you have not completed your enrollment yet, you can visit our website, NhyiraPremium.com, or you can call the number 050-114-9296, and we will assist you to complete your enrollment. And so let's begin the discussion with some questions. The first question that people ask is, hey, Nhyira, how many subjects can I write in each examination date? Now, one of the things I do all the time is that students come, and when students come and they say they want to write exam, and immediately I see that they are writing like 4 papers, 5 papers at a go. The first question I ask all the time is, hey, do you have the time to study? Because one thing you must understand is that, yes, the more papers you register, the more money that we make, right? But it's not just about the money. And I say this all the time. You know this all the time. If you have been following me for some time, I've said this over and over again. It's not just about the money. The most important thing is to be able to put yourself in the position to go into the exam hall and pass the examination. What does that mean then? It means that you must not just say, oh, in the spirit of, hey, I have to become a chartered accountant as soon as possible. I have a deadline on me, so I'm going to sit for the exam. Yes, it's possible you can sit for 4 papers and pass all of them. It's possible you can sit for 5 papers and pass all of them. But it doesn't work like that for everybody. Why is this important? Because a couple of things you must understand. Give me a sec. Let me bring up my screen on this one quickly. You see, for every subject you want to write, you need between 8 to 12 hours per week in order for you to prepare for the examination. Listen carefully. For every subject you are going to write, you need about 8 to 12 hours per week to study. Now, this is really exclusive of the lectures that you're going to be joining. This is you sitting down to study. So for every subject that you want to write, you need between 8 to 12 hours per week for the 12 weeks so you can prepare well for the examination and pass the exam. 8 to 12 hours. So the question you want to ask yourself is this. Looking at your schedules, your work, maybe you are married, your children, your personal life, your family life, and all of those other things that you have going on, you have to ask yourself, can I get 8 to 12 hours each week for each paper? Then you multiply that by the number of papers that you want to write. And so that is why I tell students all the time, hey, yes, I understand you have a vision, you have a mission, you have an aspiration, or you are, thriving on something. And you're like, hey, I have to become a chartered accountant and yama. Yeah, it's good. But the question you have to ask yourself is, can I get between 8 to 12 hours per week for each subject? And so if you are writing 4 papers and we are going to 9 by 4 every week, that means every week you're going to be needing about 36 hours if we say using 9 hours per week for each paper. 36 hours. That is a significant amount of time every week. The question is, can you get 36 hours every week for the 4 papers you want to write? And so that is where we want to start the discussion from. That only prepare, put yourself in the position where you're going to prepare for the papers that you know you will get time to study and pass. Listen, it is not about competition. It is about pace. I tell my student this. It is better to write one paper every examination night and pass the paper. That boosts your confidence. That gives you life. That gives you peace of mind than bundling the papers up, 5 papers at a go, 4 papers at a go, 3 papers at a go, but you don't have time to go through them well. And this is where many people do not sit down to study. Because, hey, can you get 8 to 12 hours per week? Many people are not going to get that time. Not that they don't have it, but, because of other things, and they are not willing to make time available to study. And so people are not going to get time to study. Work, family, wife, husband, children, this, that. By the time you realize a week to the examination, then 1 week to the examination, this is where you see people, they take leave. And within that 1 week, they want to learn everything in the syllabus and go to the exam and pass the examination. And that is the 1 week where they think they can do some magic or attend a class somewhere and magically something will be put to them to pass the examination. No. So again, if you are preparing to go into the November 2025 examination, the strategy is simple. Ask yourself, can I get between 8 to 12 hours per week to study? And you need to make the time available. Even if your goal is to write 3 papers in November, right? 3 papers in November. It means that, let's say 9 hours per week for each paper. So 9 times 3 is 27 hours per week. How can you get 27 hours to sit down and study every week? To sit down and study every week. How can you get that? Can you make the time available? Can you put some things on hold? Can you shift some things aside and make the time available so you can study? So that is where we want to start from, the number of subjects. Again, you are better off writing 1 paper every examination night and passing it than bundling the papers together and going into the exam hall and you go and bomb it. Why? Because you didn't get the time to study adequately. So that is where we want to start. Hey, Nhyira, how many papers can I write at each examination night? It all depends on you. Maybe you've heard someone's story and they said, hey, I registered for 5 papers. I didn't even get time to study. 1 week to the exam. And then, I did something. And then I attended 1 class like that. And I went and I sat for the exam. Hallelujah. I passed the exam. Yeah. It does not mean that becomes the rule, because sometimes people take the exception to be the rule and so behave in that manner. So that is the first thing I want you to understand. Number of subjects and time to study. You have to sit down and plan your time out. Can you get between 8 to 12 hours per week for each paper? Again, this is after attending your lectures, because you need to sit down and study on your own. Solve questions. Go over the things that have been done for the week. There are numerous times that, people come to class and, after lectures, they close the book. They don't open the book again. It is the following lesson again that they will open the book. Then when you ask, people will be like, oh, Nhyira, I'm busy. I'm this, I don't get time to do everything. So it is only the live lecture that I am relying on. No. And I say this to people every time. If your strategy to pass the examination is that you are busy, and so only the live lecture, which you are not even active, because whilst you are on the call, you are again on your phone doing something only you alone know about. So you are even distracted during those live lectures. So you are not fully there. You are doing something else in the background. So even the live lectures, you are not even live. You are not even there, present. You've not shut out everything. So it requires commitment. And so if you are somebody who is busy, you have a lot of things on your plate, then there is no need to write a lot of papers. Again, it's good for business that you want to write more papers. We're going to be making more money, but it is not about the money. It is about putting you in that position so you can go into the exam hall, write the exam with confidence, and pass the exam. So even if it is one paper and you write it and you pass, that is good. Because that builds the momentum for you. You keep going. But if you are going into the exam hall, you register for 3 papers. You didn't get time to study. You go to the exam hall, then you fail all the 3 papers. The emotional trauma, the crash, the shame, the disgrace, the misery you feel sometimes discourages you from even going ahead with your vision. So this is my strategy to you. Observe your life. If you think there are a lot of things on your plate, please, maybe just write 1 paper in the November examination. Go project 1 paper every examination date. And at that pace, you will still become a chartered accountant, although it will just take a longer time. But that is better than putting all the papers together. That is the first thing I want to share with you. Number of papers to write, it all depends on timing, because each of the papers require time. One thing you must understand is that the ICA examination has gotten to the level where the quality is top-notched, okay? The quality of the exam is not the 2013s. It's not the 2010s exam. The quality of the exam is in a manner that it requires people who have high level of intelligence to pass the examination. In other words, if you have not sat down to study, you don't understand the syllabus, you are not familiar with the structure of questions, you are not familiar with working in respect of speed and accuracy, there is no way you can pass the examination. And that requires work. So that is the first thing we want to get out of the way, that you must make the time to study, and you must ask yourself, can I get between 8 to 12 hours per week for each paper? Based on your schedules, if it is only 1 paper, go for it. Okay? If it is 2 papers, go for it. Be realistic. You see, sometimes people want to move with faith. But you know, the Bible said, faith without action is dead. Okay, so you want to move with faith that, oh, I'm going to register for 3 papers. By the grace of God, I'm going to register for 4 papers. By the grace of God, I'm going to pass the examination. Yeah, that is faith. But if you don't make time, 8 to 12 hours per week for each of the subjects that you want to write, then it becomes dead, because you will go to the exam hall and fail the examination. That is what I want you to understand here. And that is the first thing I want you to take away. That look at your timing. The reason why this is important to me is that I've told you this over and over again. I've been in the game over a decade. I've seen a lot. I've seen people come, boom, they pass the exam and go. I've seen people come, they struggle to pass the exam. I've seen people come, they write the exam 1, 2, thrice, and they are like, oh, I can't do it any longer. They move on with their life to go and do something else. But in all of these, the people who are distinguished are people who have the discipline to make time available to study. And that is what I want to impress on you, that if you are going to go into the exam hall, you need to make time to study. Can you get 8 to 12 hours each week to study? If your answer to that is yes, then go and multiply that up and create the time. And I think we've shared a video on how you can manage your time and all of those things. You can check it out on the page, on our YouTube channel, and you'll be able to get the information about all that and what you need to be mindful of. The second question relates to subject combination. Hey, Nhyira, what subjects should I write together? Okay, subject combinations. Now, subject combinations is also important because that will either determine whether you can pass the examination or you're going to fail the exam generally at the end of the day. So subject combination is key. So what is the preferred subject combination that we can talk about. What is the preferred subject combination? So let's say you are in level 2. So let's start from there. So you're in level 2. So maybe you are coming in with degree, right? So you have gotten your 6 exemptions, 4 in level 1 and then 2 in level 2. So maybe you are left with the other 4 papers, that is FM, MA, PSAF, and then FR. Then you go to the level 3, the papers there. We have advanced audit and assurance, corporate reporting, advanced taxation, strategic case study. So what is the subject combination? Okay, so if you're in level 2, for instance, and you are now starting out, subject combination FR and PSAF. Okay, public sector accounting and finance, and financial reporting. The reason why these 2 subjects really work is because of the fact that there is a lot of relationship between these 2 papers. A lot of relationships between these 2 papers, especially the first one, which relates to the accounting standards. Okay, so in financial reporting, you're going to be dealing with the IFRSs. In public sector accounting and finance, you're going to be dealing with the IPSAs. So in financial reporting, you are dealing with the international financial reporting standards. In the public sector class, you're going to be dealing with international public sector accounting standards. Remember, this is a 20 marks question coming in FR, accounting standards, done deal, waiting for you. And then also in PSA, you have dedicated 20 marks question on the IPSAs. So that's the first level of combination. The second level of combination relates to still the accounting standard and how it is connected to the financial statement preparation. In financial reporting, you will have another 20 marks question on the final account preparation. Either you are preparing the statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income and statement of financial position, or you are preparing the cash flow statement. Now, in the preparation of either statement, you are going to be applying the accounting standards. Why? Because all of the footnotes are actually going to be treated in accordance with the accounting standards. And so we're going to be having another 20 marks question relating to the accounting standards for the preparation of the financial statements. When you come to public sector accounting and finance as well, we are going to have financial statement preparation, which is also a 20 marks question for us. And the way we prepare financial statement in the public sector relates to reference in respect of the IPSAS as well as the Public Financial Management Act, Public Financial Administration Act, the Chart of Accounts of Government, but the IPSAS are going to be taking a center stage there. So your understanding of accounting standards in the financial reporting class is going to help you in the public sector class. Your understanding of the standards in the public sector will help you in the financial reporting class. So for instance, if you take something like IAS 16, this is property, plant, and equipment in the FR class. In the public sector class, this is IPSAS 17. Okay? This is IPSAS 17. So IAS 16, this is IPSAS 17. Technically the same idea, just with a little thin line of the treatment of issues such as revaluation of assets. Because, for instance, in IAS 16, revaluation, as when you revalue assets and we have revaluation surplus, we're going to be taking it to the revaluation surplus in the statement of changes in equity. But in the public sector, we are not preparing the statement of changes in equity. We're going to be preparing the statement of, changes in the net asset. And so the treatment will be a little bit different, but the principle will be the same. In that case, we'll have like IPSAS 40. Ooh, that is going to be like, IAS 40 investment property. That is going to be like IPSAS 16, property, plant, and equipment, and various other accounting standards. So that's the second thing you must understand why these two subjects must go together. The third one is the evaluation of financial statement, or what you may know as ratio analysis. Yes, we have evaluation of financial statement in the financial reporting class. Various ratios will be calculated and interpreted. In the public sector class 2, we have evaluation of financial statement, a 20 marks question that the examiner is going to be bringing in the exam hall. And so the issue here is that, yes, there is a thin distinction between how we analyze financial statements in the public sector and how it is analyzed in the financial reporting class, okay, or the financial reporting class. But the principle on the calculation of how the ratios are and then the way the format has to be are related. And so that is why public sector accounting and finance and financial reporting will be a good combination in that case. Now, in case you have maybe either of them already, then another combination that we can go for will be public sector and financial management. Okay? Public sector accounting and finance and financial management. That's another good combination because there is about 15% of questions, I think so, in the financial management class, which will take your understanding from the public sector class to understand them much easier in that case. And so because of that, we can have that combination as well in that case. Or better still, number 3, if we do FR and PSA together, then we are coming in with MA and FM. Now, MA and FM, very important there. There are some relationship in that also because we have some public sector issues in management accounting. We have some public sector issues also in financial management. And so the combination of these two papers can also be a good thing. Then we have investment appraisal in the management accounting. It's also in the financial management class. So the traditional investment appraisal methods like accounting rate of return, internal rate of return, net present value, payback period, discounted payback period. Those things, you're going to be learning them in financial management, and they are applicable also in project appraisal in management accounting. Then we top it up with the exclusive project appraisal methods in the public sector, like the cost effective analysis, the cost effective ratio, and cost effective or cost outcome analysis. So those are the exclusive items there that we must understand in that case. So if you are going 2 by 2, which is the best thing that most of you would have to do because you have a lot on your plate, it will be 2 by 2, then it could be this combination in that case. Now, if you don't have it like this because probably you've passed a certain paper already and you are left with one paper that you have not passed yet, then whatever is left, you can go for the combination that is left there in that case. So that is what we must understand on the level 2, the subject combination, and then the relationship between the subjects. In level 3, as always, if we are going for 2 by 2, then you want to come in with corporate reporting and then advanced audit and assurance. This is crucial because there is a lot of relationship between corporate reporting and advanced audit and assurance. Okay, corporate governance, 10 marks in advanced audit and assurance. We must know about it in the corporate reporting class. Ethics, 10 marks in advanced audit and assurance. We must know it in the corporate reporting class. Then your understanding of the accounting standards in the corporate reporting class will help you to excel in the 20 marks question that will be coming in the exam or on audit procedures or gathering of audit procedures and audit evidence. And so doing corporate reporting and advanced audit and assurance together is key. But there is a catch there. So for instance, let's say that you wrote principles of taxation. Maybe you wrote principles of taxation in the previous diet. Then it will be important for you to do advanced taxation. And maybe one of these two guys, advanced taxation with CR or advanced taxation with AAA. Okay, so that you can use the knowledge you have from the principles of taxation. So you have to be careful about that strategy. So because there is just a little line between financial principles of tax and advanced taxation, because the way the syllabus has been done now under the no syllabus, the principles, almost everything in principles of taxation, apart from I think pension or so, is in advanced taxation. So what it then means is that if you wrote principles of taxation in the previous examination date, then in order not to make that knowledge go waste, you can just top it up with advanced taxation in level 3, so that you don't go with corporate reporting and advanced audit and assurance. You do advanced taxation, and then you can do either corporate reporting or advanced audit and assurance in addition to it. So that is what we must understand in there. But if you don't have any knowledge like that coming in, then certainly you can do corporate reporting and advanced audit and assurance. Then we come to advanced taxation and strategic case study. These two have nothing in common, really. The only thing is ethics that we have in advanced taxation that will be in strategic case study as well. But, even the way the ethics questions will be asked in principles of tax, in advanced taxation is different from the way ethics apply in the strategic case study class. But, that is what we must understand there. So the reason why subject combination is also important is because of how easy the journey can be. So if I'm in level 2 and I'm doing financial reporting and public sector together, then there is a lot of cross knowledge that I can apply, because a lot of the things that I'm learning in the accounting standard can be applied in the financial reporting standard, can be applied in the IPSAS. A lot of the ratios things that I'm learning can also be applied in public sector. So it makes the learning much easier. But where the two subjects really have nothing in common, sometimes it makes the journey much difficult in that case. So that is what we must understand when it comes to the subject combination. Again, this is just best practice, and you will decide what you want to do in that regard. So that is the second thing that you must understand. I see some of you guys joining. Welcome to the stream. We are looking at some basic questions, strategies, and what you must do as we position ourselves to pass the examination. So if there are any questions you have, something you want to pick my brain on, please put it in the comment section or the chat for me. I'm going to be answering all your questions and provide you with any assistance that you need. And remember to share the video as well. Let's reach as many students as possible, so together we can help many students who are also on this journey and help them pass the examination in that case. So let's see, I'm getting some comments. Let's see if I can bring something up here. Okay. Genesis said, thanks. All right. Then we have Iman Ewuzie. What is that? Sorry if I don't mention your name right, okay? Ewuzie or whatever. Let me stick with the first name, Samuel. Good evening, Nhyira. Good evening, Samuel. Thanks for joining us on this stream. What else do I have? Stella Henry said, hi, Nhyira. Glad to be here. Been watching only playback from 2021 to 2023, watching from Tanzania. Thanks, Stella, for joining us. I believe that you are doing well and you are improving and going forward in what you are doing. Don't worry. Even if you miss the live, you will always watch or get access to watch the playback in that case. Terrence, good vibes. I think that's an emoji that was sent. I think so. All right. Then let's go to the next question in that case, which is, how long should I spend on one topic? Okay. So if you are studying, how much time should you spend on a topic? You see, one of the things that you're going to be fighting with is this word, time. Because we don't have much in abundance. We all have 24 hours. You're going to be fighting with time during your studies. You're going to be fighting with time during your revision. And you're going to be fighting with time during the examination. I tell people this. Many people fail the exam because they are not able to work with time, especially in the exam hall. Because you see, the exam hall should not be the first time you are working under pressure. If you put yourself in the position where it is the exam hall that you are now trying to work with speed and accuracy, it is the exam hall that you are now trying to punch faster, it is the exam hall that you are now trying to do certain things as quickly as possible, remember, you're going to fail the exam. You will fail. So the question then is, how do you work yourself out? It depends on what you are studying, but for the average, you can spend 1 or 2 hours per topic, 1 or 2 hours per topic, and you're going to come back to this topic at some time in the future. And so the question then people ask is, Nhyira, how do I study? When I study, I don't remember. So how do I study? There are various study styles that you have to know about, okay? We have people who study visually, okay? Then we have people who study audibly, all right? Then, the kinesthetically. That's also available there. What does that mean? There are some people who study by viewing. So, for instance, if it is a live lecture and they are locked in, no distraction, they are watching the thing being done, boom, it's going to stick. Visual. They use charts, they use graph to study. There are some people, they want to listen to the thing over and over again. They want to hear it over and over again. That is how it works for them. Then there are some people, they learn by practicing. That is the kinesthetics. Practicing. What does that mean? It means that there are some people, when they read the thing, they have to read it, write it out, read it, write it out, or read it, recite it verbally over and over again as though they are doing a watch night in their room before it sticks. Your issue or your challenge is to identify which study style works best for you. Now, if you are asking Nhyira, or you are saying, hey, Nhyira, I don't know my study style, what do I do? Then try all of them and see which one works best for you. Remember what we spoke about earlier, the 8 to 12 hours each week. So you need to practice and find out which study style works best for you. Is it visually? So when you see something being done, when you see something being demonstrated, it sticks. You use pictures, you use charts. Is it auditory? Meaning that you listen to the thing over and over and over and over again, and it sticks. Or kinesthetically, which means that you practice it over and over again before it sticks. You have to know your style so that it saves you time on how you must study. This is very important. So you must know your style. So if you don't know, let me know in the comment or in the chat box, in the chat or in the comment section, what works best for you. Is it that you read, you write, it sticks? Or when you watch the thing being done over and over again, it sticks? Or when you listen to it over and over again, it sticks? Or when you, how do you study? Let me hear in the comment section what works best for some of you here, and then what have you identified as the best way to go. So fine-tune your study style. Find it, because it will save you a lot of time. If you know how you study, then it will stick. Because one of the problems also is, hey, Nhyira, when I learn, I don't remember. In other words, I tend to forget everything I learn. I can learn for 2 hours. Immediately I step out of the book, boom, I cannot remember anything. And this is a serious issue, because you see, what people do when they learn and they forget is to, number one, blame themselves. Okay, so they go to the blame game. So they blame themselves. Oh, I have a weak brain. Okay, they will say, oh, I have a weak brain. Or they will say, oh, Nhyira, I'm getting older. Those days that we were in high school, my brain was sharp. to these days, their children, their family and everything. No, there is nothing like that, my friends. There is nothing like that. How old are you? Are you 70 years yet? No. Are you 50? Probably. Are you 40? Some of you are just 35 years or 30 years old and you're complaining that your brain is weak. Really? Oh, so if you are 30 and you're complaining that your brain is weak, and someone is 70 years still doing his or her master's, what should we call that person? So it is not that you are getting older. There is nothing like that. Oh, I'm getting older, so my brain is becoming weak. No. So what people do when they study and they forget is they start blaming themselves. They have a weak brain. They are getting older. They start blaming themselves. They go with a blame game. Number two is they, reach the point and they are like, oh, this is difficult. I cannot do it. So what they technically do is they quit. Okay? They are like, I can't do it. Hey, this thing is difficult. This ICA thing is difficult. Management accounting is difficult. You will learn. Then when you see one question like that, Queen, it's like you have not learned anything. FR, the standards. You will learn the standard and learn the standard and learn the standards. Just when you know or you think you understand the standards, one question like that comes and you cannot seem to remember anything. So they quit. But when you study and you forget, you don't have to blame other people. You don't have to blame yourself. You don't have to quit and say, hey, I cannot do it. You don't have to say, oh, this is difficult. You don't have to do that. So blame game, I cannot do it. Then they quit. And so let's flip the script. If you study and you forget, how do we get you to the point that you study and you no longer forget? So how do we do it? So I'm going to give you a framework. I've shared this before, but I'm going to give you a condensed version of this framework. Number one, you need to know your peak period. Okay? You need to know your peak time. Only study at your peak time. This is very important. What time do you study? Many people complain that they study and they forget because they have gone to work all day, got home 9 p.m., bath, ate banku and okra stew, or banku and tilapia, sat on their bed and pick a book and said they are learning. No, that's a waste of time. You are not learning. Why? Because you are not productive at that time. You are weak. You are tired. You are exhausted. You've been beaten down. Then you came home again and ate banku and okra stew. Your brain, there is nothing going on in your body. That is not your peak time. Or maybe you are stressed out. Okay? Maybe you are stressed out. Things are not going on well with you. You are thinking about the bills. You are thinking about your children. You are thinking about your mom. You are thinking about your dad. There is something going on emotionally with you. Then you are not in a good state to pick a book to study. Or you are thinking about, that lady that, bounced you. Or you're thinking about that guy that left you. Or you're thinking about something emotional. You are not in the right mental state because your peak time is the time where your emotions and your brain are in sync. In other words, this is called your blissful moment. Your blissful moment. This is the time you have to study. Because you see, you need your brain to relax so you can assimilate and remember what you study. Have you experienced this before? Sometimes you are just in the bathroom and the water is just pouring down on you. Or you are just lying down on your bed relaxing. Then all of a sudden, certain things that you've learned some time ago, they are just coming. Like you can remember them. You can just say them out loud. Then you ask yourself, I needed this thing in the ICA examination previous weeks ago, but it never came. Why? It is because when you are bathing, that time you are relaxed. When you were sleeping on the bed, that time you were in your blissful moment. And so your brain was relaxed, hence everything can flow. Everything can come. But when you were in the exam hall, you couldn't control your emotions. So everything jumped in your head, hence you cannot recollect anything. So you need to know and create your blissful moments. This is very important. And so don't study when you are tired. Don't study when you are thinking about something. Now, the reason I said create this peak time is because hell will come for you whether I like it or not. The storms of life will hit you whether I like it or not. So you have to reach the point in your life where you can reach that maturity and create that boundary between creating the blissful moment to study, to remember, to recollect, and then creating time to do what has to be done. So what is your peak time? Identify this. For some of you, it may be just a window in the dawn, maybe between 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. For some of you, it may be weekend, Sunday after church, or Saturday after washing. That is, if you will be wasting time to wash 5 hours or 6 hours and be washing, that is your story. But maybe that is your time. Know your peak time. There is nothing like a weak brain. We only have untrained memories. So the reason you learn and you forget is not because your brain is weak. The reason you learn and you forget is not because you are getting older. The reason you learn and you forget is not because now there is a lot of problems in your life. No. The reason you learn and you forget is because your brain has not been trained to be able to distinguish between right and wrong, good and evil, and create that blissful moment required to retain the information that you are assimilating. So that is the first thing. Know your peak time. The second thing that you need to understand to deal with this strategy, this issue of learning and forgetting, is your study environment. And you've heard me say this over and over again. Your study environment. Where you study is as important as your emotions, your mental state. So where do you study? For some of you, 99.9% of the time, maybe you join live lectures. Probably you are watching this in your car going home. You are watching this in the trotro going home. You are watching this walking to the house. That environment cannot help you to remember because you are distracted. All right? You are distracted. And so that decreases your ability to focus and hence decrease your ability to remember what you have studied. And that is why you need to create time to sit down 8 to 12 hours per week for each subject to study on your own. So your study environment is important. Where do you study? You cannot be studying and the children are running around. You cannot be studying and someone is watching TV. You cannot be studying and there is noise all around you. No, you are not in that blissful moment that will help you to understand well what you are studying. So your study environment, have a serene environment. Have a serene environment. Very important. Number 3, what I spoke about earlier, your studying style or your learning style. I've already spoken about this. Know your learning style. Number 4 is note taking. Listen, some of you study but never take notes. But note taking helps you to remember. It's like people go to church, right? You people go to church and the message is ongoing and they are just sitting down, listening. Or people attend lectures and they never write anything. They are sitting down there listening. You think your brain is what? A supercomputer that you can listen to everything and it will stick? No. When you are studying, you have to be taking notes. And there is an act and science behind that. Because you see, when you are taking notes, what you are doing is that you are reinforcing what you are hearing. When you are taking notes, you are engaging and actively involved in the thing that you are studying. If you cannot study and not prepare notes. Now, I am not saying regurgitate 100% or copy 100% what the lecturer is saying, but there are some key points that you have to take away whilst you are studying. Whether it is a live lecture or it is yourself that you are doing studies. Some of you just pick the textbooks and open the textbook, then you are sitting down, then you are reading it. No, you cannot do that and still remember anything. You won't remember. So you have to be taking notes. And there is a way you even take notes. So what you want to do is your book, you want to divide your book like this. And so this will be the notes that you're going to be taking here for whatever subject you are studying. And then this will be the questions that you may be having as you come across anything or key takeaways if you want to. All right, key takeaways. So for instance, let's say that I'm in class, okay, and I'm listening to, the lecturer is teaching, or I'm watching a video on consolidated financial statement. Okay, I'm watching the video, I gotta be taking notes. Okay, how do we gain control? How do we gain significant influence? What are the indicators of control? What are the indicators of significant influence? So as the video is ongoing, as the lecture is ongoing, I'm taking those key notes. Then the question side is to ask myself, okay, how will the examiner ask this in the exam hall? Okay, how will this be asked? How will this be asked? Now, when you are doing this as the lecture is ongoing, what you are doing is that you are telling your brain that, hey, the information coming in is very important, requires further understanding, and hence make sure you don't just throw it somewhere that I have to try hard to bring it back. Keep it somewhere that I can recollect it as fast as possible, because this thing requires some continuation. So how will the question be asked? You need to know about it. Number two, how does this relate to other things? Okay, so how does this relate to previous, maybe, lesson that I've learned? Those are the questions and the key takeaway part. Again, what are you doing? You are connecting the dots, because one of the ways to increase your memory, to increase your ability to recollect the things that you are studying, is connecting the new things to the old things that you have studied, so that the new become familiar, or you become familiar with the new because you associated it with something that you have learned previously. And that increases your level of understanding. And this is what you must understand. And so, for instance, if I'm in the consolidation class, how do I put all of these together? Okay. They said that if a company acquires more than 25% of a business on the average, but less than 50%, then they are getting significant influence. Okay. We are applying IAS 28, investment in associate. Okay. When a company acquires more than 50% of the voting right, then it means that 50% or more of the voting right, then it means that it's a consolidation. So I'm going to do full consolidation, IFRS 3, business combination. I'm going to do a full consolidation. Okay. So the question we then have to ask ourselves is, what if a company acquires less than 25%, has no significant influence? Are you getting the idea? So I'm in the consolidation class. The lecturer is teaching that, when a company acquires 25%, but less than 50% of the voting right, they have significant influence. Okay, and so as you apply IAS 28, when a company acquires more than 50%, they have control. So as you do full consolidation. So my question then will be, okay, what happens if a company acquires less than 25% or even 25%, but there is no indication of significant influence? Now, the answer to that question lies in financial instrument, IAS 32, IFRS 9 financial instrument. Because when we acquire investment in a company that doesn't give us significant influence or control, then that is going to be a financial asset and it will be accounted for in accordance with IFRS 9 financial instrument recognition and measurement. And so I'll carry it at fair value through P&L or at fair value through OCI. What did I just do? Bringing what I'm studying now in consolidation and connecting it with another form of investment, financial instrument, another accounting standard. And that is what you need to do. So that is why, studying is a difficult thing. Studying is something you need to learn. Studying is something you need to be equipped with. You don't just get up and pick a book and say, I am learning. No. You need to have the act. You need to know about the act of studying to optimize yourself. And I tell people this. If you know how to study, you can do in 2 hours what would take somebody 6 months to study. Yeah. If you know how to study, you know how to work with your peak time, you know how to have a good study environment, you know your learning style, and you know how to take note effectively, you can study in 2 hours what somebody would take 6 months to understand. Why? Because learning is an act. You need to study it to put that in you generally in that particular case. And so note taking, you have to be mindful of it. And so from today, if you are studying, get a notebook and take notes. And as I've illustrated to you, divide it into 2 like this. The main note is on the left side, and then your key questions, principle, relations, connection, familiarization is on the right side, that small box there. And I want you to also use multiple colors in your notes. And if you follow me, you realize that anytime I'm teaching, I'm using more than 1 colors, right? Why is that? Those are all things that trigger the brain. Those are all things that trigger the brain. So red means what? This thing is important for me to know about. Blue means what? It's the usual thing that I'm studying. Black means what? Associate certain things with the colors as you are picking the notes. Again, it is a hard work. That is why only a few people will become successful. It's unfortunate, but that is the reality of life. Because Nhyira, so you are saying that if I'm studying, I should buy 3 different pens. Weren't you doing this in high school? In high school, some of you, JHS, SHS, and all of those S's, some of you were using blue pen, green pen, black pen, and you were taking your notes. And it was beautiful. Why were you doing that? But now you feel, I can't take notes using 3 or 4 pens. No. It is for your brain. Because red will trigger something in your brain. Black will trigger something in your brain. Blue will trigger something in your brain. It's all about association. And note taking is a key thing that I don't want you to take for granted. So if you study and you forget, the solution is simple. Learn only in your blissful moments. Study only in your peak time. Number 2, study in a well-structured environment, conducive environment. Number 3, know about your study style. It's very important. Number 4, take notes. Don't attend lectures and sit there with your car key and your phone like you are King Solomon. Like you, dear. You know everything. Everything is captured in your head. You won't take note. Who the heck does that? You cannot do that because nothing will stick. Nothing will stick because whilst lectures is ongoing, you are on your phone busily doing something. Kukua has sent you something and you are checking it. Ohima has sent you something and you are checking it. So one useless group like that you are in has sent something and you are checking it. You are being distracted. How can you focus? Because everything we are talking about here is to enable you to focus. That's all. Why? Because the only place that your brain can assimilate and remember is if you're in a focus zone. That's it. That's it. So you have to, that is why I said the study environment is important. You have to take out all distractions. You can't be studying and your phone is on. Queenie, message has come. Hey, Queenie, message has come. Queenie, message has come. No, that is distraction. So when you are coming to study, you put your phone on focus mode or do not disturb mode. Listen, 1 hour with your book will not kill you. If you miss a message from your girlfriend, you won't die. If you miss a message from your boyfriend for 1 hour and you don't reply, you won't die. You need to create that environment where you make time to study consciously. This is very important. This is very important. So that is what I want you to understand. If you learn and you forget, don't blame yourself. Don't call yourself stupid. Don't call yourself dumb. Don't say, oh, my brain is weak. Don't say I'm getting older. Don't quit. Don't stop now. If you learn and you forget, it is not the end of the road for you. Do not quit now. Don't give up. Instead, learn how to learn. And you know, the reason I'm passionate about this a lot is that if you follow me, you realize that I am not just here to teach you IAS 32, IFRS 9, this and that. No. I can teach you everything in the book. But if I don't get your brain right, you don't know how to study. You don't know how to work. You don't know how to understand. You don't know how to focus. It will just be like I am carrying a weaved basket to the riverside to fetch water. And guess what? I ain't going to fetch anything. And that is why if you follow me carefully over the years, almost all the time, I am taking you behind the scene and guiding you on what you need to do to put yourself in the position mentally, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually to pass the examination. Because it is not just about picking the book to study. It is not just about, hey, Nhyira, I'm watching your videos. It is not just about, no. You need to learn how to learn. And that is what I want you to understand. Study at your peak time, very important. Learn in a serene environment. Know your study style. Take notes. All these is to enable you to focus on what you are studying generally in that particular case. And so that is a key thing that you need to understand in that regard. Okay? That is what you need to understand in that case. So let me hear from you in the comment section. Any questions you have for me, any comment, something you want to pick my brain on, please put them in the comment section or the chat for me. I will be excited to provide you with some answers as we proceed in the discussion today. So if there are any questions, you put it in the chat for me, put it in the comment section for me, and I'm going to be answering it. Another question that I have here that I would want to look at, give me a sec, let's see if I can pull this question up, very important to me. One question people ask also is, hey, Nhyira, how can I be faster, or how can I be fast in the exam hall? You see, one of the things you must understand is that speed is necessary for you to pass the examination. Speed and accuracy is necessary. Okay? for passing the examination. If you're a slow person, you will fail the exam. So you need speed and accuracy. Remember, I didn't just say you need speed. I said speed and accuracy. Because it is one thing to try to rush. It's another thing to rush in perfection. So yes, speed is needed. Because you see, on the average, the 3 hours that you have for the paper is not enough. On the average, it's not enough. But that is all you got. That you have a 20 marks question, and that 20 marks question, you need to use 36 minutes to do it. Why? Because each minute is 1.8, each mark is 1.8 minutes. So there's a 20 marks question, you need 36 minutes. So how do you work with speed and accuracy in the exam hall? This goes back to what you do before the exam. And so you must apply speed and accuracy in your study. You must apply speed and accuracy during your revision. Then you can perfect the art and apply speed and accuracy in the exam. I mentioned this in the beginning that many people only get to the exam hall before they want to now apply speed and accuracy. And that is where you will fail the exam. Because you don't do something the first time in the exam hall. That's a recipe for disaster. Instead, you start practicing it. You start practicing it. So when you are studying speed and accuracy, and so that is why, for instance, in our lectures, we give assignments, right? Regularly. Assignments are given. We do performance evaluation tests. The purpose of these is to help our students work on some of these things. And you are working on your speed and accuracy, okay? Then you are working on your approach on how you can answer the questions. Because you see, sometimes people spend more time on certain questions than they are required to spend. Why? Because they apply the wrong approach in solving the question, or they read a question and they don't understand. Because I tell people this, that the reason why many people spend time a lot is the difference between reading the question and comprehending the question. This is the problem of many people. The reason why people spend a lot of time on certain questions is comprehension, understanding of the question. That's it. That's why you spend a lot of time. So you've read the question, but you don't seem to understand. You've read the requirements, but you don't know how to write out the answers. It means you don't understand the question. And if you don't understand the question, or sometimes it takes people longer than required. So your goal as you are studying is to bridge the gap between reading and understanding the question. Because this is the cause of a lot of people's problem. And that is why in your studies, in your revision, you have to practice bridging the gap between reading and comprehension. And this is where you have to be careful. And I tell my students this all the time. That, hey, Nhyira, solve more questions with us. Solve more questions with us. I can solve more questions with you, but I'm not doing you good. If I come to class and I'm solving questions, you will be under a delusion that you understand what is going on. Why? Because I read the question and I solve it with you. So you will be under the delusion that you understand it. But if we now put the question before you, you read it, you realize that it is taking you more time to understand it. And so I've had people who tell me that, oh, Nhyira, when we are in class and you teach, you solve the question, I understand the thing. But then if I see a question I can't solve, then I'm like, you did not understand what was taught in class. That is why when you read the question, the understanding did not come. And so you have to bridge the gap between reading and comprehension. How do you do that? It goes back to what we mentioned earlier, learning in your peak time, learning in a good environment, knowing your studying style, and most importantly, taking notes. Because you see, if you know, you know. I tell people this. I don't care what you say though, but if you know, you know. If you know, you know. Listen, if I'm taking, say, financial instrument, if you know, you know. What does that mean? It means that if I read and they say, oh, a company has issued convertible loan notes, and I'm preparing the financial statement in the books of the company that had done the issue, if I understand IAS 32, financial instrument measurement, then what do? No, IAS 32 is not financial instrument measurement. IFRS 9 is, financial instrument recognition and measurement. So if it is in accordance with IAS 32, what do? They said the company issued convertible loan notes. What does the principle say? The principle is simple. When a company issues a convertible loan note, and I'm accounting for the current amount of the loan note, we have to split it between what? The debt component and the equity component. Okay, how do I get a debt component? I get a debt component by discounting the cash flows on the debt using interest rate of similar bonds without conversion rate, or the effective interest rate, so that the balancing figure between the proceeds and the debt becomes the equity figure. That is initial measurement and initial recognition. So if you don't understand the principle of issued convertible loan notes, then you see the question, then you can't solve it. Now, if the entity bought the convertible loan note, that is a financial asset. So I could carry it at the amortized cost, or carry it at fair value through P&L, or at fair value through OCI. So your problem is not that the question is difficult. Your problem is that you don't understand the principles underlying the topics. And the reason why you don't understand the principles underlying a topic is because you are not studying in your peak time. It's because your environment is contaminated. You are not studying in a serene environment. It's because you are not aware of your study style. It's because you are not even taking notes. And it really bothers me. It bothers me. How can you attend a class and you don't take notes? Like you're a grandmaster. Like, I don't get it. You don't take notes. Yeah, you're a big man. You're a big woman. You don't take notes. How the heck do you refer? You think the 3-hour class is in your head? No, your brain doesn't work like that. And so you will always have a problem reading the question and answering the questions in record time because your brain does not have the principle at a place it can be recalled easily. So how do you move? Because speed is necessary in the exam hall. So if speed is necessary to pass, then whilst you study, whilst you revise, you have to find a way to bridge the gap. Build a bridge between reading the question and understanding the question. Because the reason you take a longer time is because of understanding. And there are some of you, I've had some of my students telling me this over and over again. They're like, oh, Nhyira, I read a question. When I read it the first time, I didn't understand. So I had to sit down before I understood. You've wasted time. So if you're supposed to use 36 minutes, guess what? You use like 6 to 10 minutes just thinking about the question because you want to read it over and over and over again before it can really come to you. But that is not how you do it. So if you want to pass the exam, speed and accuracy is key in the exam hall. But the way you can succeed in working with speed and accuracy is during these 12 weeks, whilst you are studying, when we get to the revision period, you must apply and bridge the gap between reading the question and understanding. Reading the question and understanding. And the only way you can bridge that gap is having a solid understanding of everything you study. And the only way you can have a solid understanding in everything you study is to be involved whilst the class is ongoing. Is to be involved. Is to be involved. So I tell people this: if you are busy, then don't join the class. Don't join the live lectures. If you are tired, you are stressed out, you are distracted, what are you listening to? It's better you focus on what you are doing. Later on, you watch the playback of the video in your blissful moment during your peak period. Then you can take notes. Why? Because note taking and all of those things are important aspects of putting you in the position to pass the examination. So my friends, speed and accuracy is key. Yes. But how do you solve it? You solve it by bridging the gap between reading the question and understanding the question. If you can reduce the time between reading and understanding and knowing the requirements of the question, you can pass the exam with ease. That is why for some of you, by the time they say get ready to stop work, you've answered 3 questions. Only 3. 3 questions. Some of you stop work, you've answered 3.5 questions. That is disaster. Because if you answer 3.5 questions, it means you are going to be marked over 70. Okay, over 70. Yes, you can pass. But what if you committed a lot of errors in that 3.5 mark, in that 3.5 marks, that 3.5 questions that you solved? What if you committed some errors? And so that is why at the end of the day, people end up with some marks. Okay, like 19, like 25. Okay, like 16, like 10. Yeah, because, and sometimes people are surprised by the marks they are getting. They're like, oh, why did I get this marks? Yeah, that's what you did. Because you thought you understood the question, but then you did not understand the question. So everything you did was actually a digression. Or you provided an answer that is totally wrong. So listen, yes, we need speed and accuracy, but that will mean we reduce the time between reading and comprehending the question. That is how you can pass the examination. Again, that is why I keep on telling you, it is not just about attending lectures. I don't care. It is not just about studying. It is not just about reading books. It's not just about watching the video. This whole journey is a transformational journey you are on, that you need to be equipped in a manner that the journey becomes interesting, so this journey becomes smooth for you on the overall at the end of the day. And that is very important in there. Seeing some comments coming in. If there are any questions you have, put it in the comment section or the chat for me. I'm going to provide you with some answers in that particular case. Stella said, read and recall helps a lot. Okay, that's great to hear. So you read and then you try to recall what you read. So once you know your strategy, it means that a lot of reading papers can be very easy for you in that case. 3 Rivers. Hello, Nhyira. I am interested in obtaining ICAG study materials. Could you please advise me on how to acquire them? If you're looking for my books, you can send us a message on WhatsApp. 05011499296, and you'll be able to get access to our books. If you're looking for the ICAG manual, you can call the ICAG, and you will be able to get the books. I think they do delivery wherever you are, so you can contact the ICAG. That is if you want the ICAG manual. But if you want my books on the subject, because we have a couple of our books available here. I think we have financial reporting, we have strategic case study, we have corporate reporting, taxation, and all of those books available. So if you're looking for my books, you can send us a message on WhatsApp. My executive assistant will help you so you can get it delivered to you wherever you are located. But if you want the ICAG books, the main ICAG books, then certainly you can contact the ICAG office, and you will be assisted on how to get the books in that case. Okay. Then let me talk about this, probably last one, then we will see. One thing also that I students ask me that I have here is reading subjects. There are many people who find it difficult for reading subjects. They are like, Nhyira, I don't like reading. Look at strategic case study. What do I do? That's why strategic case study, is an interesting paper. A lot of students struggle in there because people don't like reading. But you see, whether I like it or not, you have to go through that. So let's say in level 3, we have strategic case study, largely reading, right? Advanced audit and assurance, reading. You can run away from it. Principles of advanced taxation, some reading there and some calculation issues there available. So it is not about what you like. It's about finding how to study the reading subjects. That's what you have to do. Because if you sit there and say, I don't like reading subjects. So what do you like? There is nothing like I don't like reading subjects. There is nothing like I don't like reading subjects. You have to like it. Because anything you abhor, you don't get anything from. Anything you respect, anything you enjoy doing, you like it. So nobody cares about what you like or what you don't like. What you need to do is, how do I study it? And so, for instance, when it comes to something like strategic case study, I tell my student this, and we have our program available the way it is structured. You're going to read it. Yes, it's going to be discussed in class. We're going to bring some practical examples. So how does the PISTOL framework, SWOT analysis, balance scorecard, and all of those things, how do they apply in practice? All right. Then, so we're going to bring some illustrations up. We're going to bring some examples up. Then now, questions are going to be put before you. Okay, this is the model you've learned. This is the framework you've learned. Okay, this is a question. How do you use the model or the framework to answer the question? So you read the text to understand the text. Number 2, you have to find out how the text apply to various scenarios, various situations. That's the second thing, application. Then the third thing is you have to now expose yourself to questions to see how the text apply to what you are studying. So let's say we are doing the SWOT analysis, or let's say we're doing the Porter's 5 forces, okay, competitive analysis. Okay, I understand the 5 forces. All right, we understand the 5 forces. Threat from new entrants, bargaining power of customers, bargaining power of suppliers, okay, threat of substitute products, competitive rivalry, and all of the firm strategy, structure, and competitive rivalry. So we know the 5 things, what they stand for. Number 2, application. How does this apply to companies? So we can apply it to the tech industry. How does it look like? The mining industry. How does it look like? The finance or banking industry. How does it look like? The insurance industry. How does it look like? Practically. And now there are a lot of online tools that you can use to get some practical understanding of the framework. Then number 3, you expose yourself to questions. So we take a scenario which is related to the Porter's five forces. How do we get threat from new entrants? How do we get threat at the bargaining power of customers? How do we assess the bargaining power of suppliers? What are the indicators we are looking for? So if you don't like reading subjects, nobody cares about what you like or what you don't like. What you need to do is to learn how to learn it and enjoy it. So read the text to understand it. Apply it to specific scenarios contextually. Then number 3, you expose yourself to questions. These are the things that you must understand. Because whether I like it or not, you have to pass strategic case study before you become a chartered accountant. Whether I like it or not, you need to pass advanced audit and assurance before you become a chartered accountant. Whether I like it or not, you need to read taxation before you pass the examination. So if you say you don't like reading subjects, then what do you want to do? What do you want to do? So you must learn how to learn. If there is anything that really I'm leaving you with tonight, it'll be 2 things probably. Number 1 is prepare and only register for the number of papers or the papers that you will get time to study every week for. Very important. Very important. Don't wait a week to the exam hall, take some miserable leave, cause financial loss to the state, cause financial loss to your company, and think you can use 1 week or 3 days to go through the syllabus. You will go and get 3%. I know you say, we serve a living God. I have told you already, faith without action is dead. So don't blind yourself. We serve a living God. You think God is your magician? Or you think God is your housemaid? That you can just call God and say, hey, then he's coming for you? No. So yes, we believe God has empowered us. God has anointed us. God will help us. God will empower us to pass the examination. But you have to study. You need to study because God's grace is going to give you that empowerment to study and understand, give you the peace of mind to study and understand, give you the peace of mind to remember. But if there is nothing in your head, what should God remind you of? What should the Holy Spirit empower you of? So please, this is not a competition. If it is 1 paper, you can get time to study well for and write and pass, go for it. If it is 2 papers, go for it. Do not try to, do yourself like, hey. That's the first thing you must understand. That's the first thing. The second thing I want you to really, really take notice of is the last issue that I was talking about. Create the time to really study. I want you to create time to study. And if you can do that, I can guarantee you, you can go into the exam hall, write the exam with confidence, and most importantly, pass the examination. So these are some things that I want to share with you on the stream today. And tomorrow we'll be coming on the stream again. Tomorrow is our orientation session officially, where we're going to be walking through various things that we will be doing in the next 12 weeks in our mentorship program. Remember, our program is a mentorship program, right? We provide tuition here, and it's a mentorship program. What does that mean? It means that in a mentorship environment, the teacher teaches. You're going to be given assignments. You're going to be given performance evaluation tests for you to do it. And that is how we go through the program to put you in the position so you can work on your speed and accuracy. You can familiarize yourself with questions that the examiner is going to be asking. You can work on your approach to answering the questions, and you can work on your handwriting. You can work on various things that you will be needing to pass the examination. And that is why our environment is a mentorship environment. And that is why it works. That is why it works. And so the people who go through our program, over 70, 80% of them end up passing the examination if they go through the program holistically, meaning you are involved in the live lectures, or even if you miss live lectures, you watch the playback of the video, you do assignment, you do performance evaluation test, you are part of the program fully, then you can put yourself in the position and pass the examination. If there is anything I want you to know about, this is what I want you to be aware of. So that is it about that. And thanks for watching and then sharing the video, giving us a thumbs up on the video. Thanks for the comments as well. We really appreciate your support. We'll be coming back again tomorrow and discussing some few things that we need to, again, be mindful of and take notice of. If there are any questions you have or you want to enroll in our course, you can check the description of this video. The first link, click on it to take you to our website, or you can call us. The number on the L banner there, 050-114-9296, and enroll in our course to join our session. We're going to be starting our live lectures on Monday. Tomorrow we'll have our orientation session where we will walk you through the way the 12 weeks is going to be designing. There are a lot of good things that we have available for this semester, especially for our students, throughout our mentorship program to really empower you so you can put yourself in the position to pass the examination. So I'm going to catch you tomorrow at 7 p.m. I think so. That is 1900 GMT. All right, that's 19, right? Yeah, so that is 1900 GMT or 7 p.m. Ghana time. And we're going to be going through a session where I'm going to be answering questions like I'm doing today and also providing you with a blueprint on how our lectures are going to be in the next 12 weeks for the November 2025 examination. Thanks for watching. Have a good night, and I'll see you tomorrow.